Speak softly and carry a big stick. That's what Theodore Roosevelt used to say. But Trump, he doesn't speak so softly. A lot of people may think that he's all bark and no bite. Trump has been showing lately that he's not bluffing. Just like with the trade wars, Trump gave his plan of action, and he wanted Iran to come to the table and negotiate. But it didn't seem like Iran wanted to come to the table and negotiate. So Trump made some promises that there were going to be consequences. And guess what? He kept his promises. Trade wars can lead to proxy wars, and of course these proxy wars could lead to something worse, like maybe even a World War III. But what we want to do with these trade wars is get to where we're in a better financial position. We've been getting our butt kicked as far as these trade wars are concerned by China for many, many years, and we're tired of getting our butt kicked. What we want to do is win on trade, bring jobs back to the U.S., get us in a much better financial position. If these proxy wars get out of hand, we don't nip this thing in the bud, these things grow into something that is really hard to handle. We get a monster on our hands. Today we're going to go over Tariff Strategy 101 and delve into what Trump may be thinking about as it relates to the cards he's holding.
Let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
Trump feels like he has the cards to bet aggressively right now. So we're going to be talking about why Trump is betting aggressively and what he wants to protect and what he wants to gain from the tariff strategy. And be sure to stay till the end, because some of these things might be really exciting here at the end. So we'll get right into it. 10 countries now have nuclear weapons. And North Korea was the most recent one to get nuclear weapons. They got some of their technology, I think, from the Pakistanis. And Kim Jong-un, Trump put him in his place. We haven't had any issues with him in the last 4 or 5 years. So if we think that Korea is bad, just think of how bad it's going to be with Iran if they get nuclear weapons. 79% of Democrats in a recent poll have said that they don't want to see Iran get nuclear weapons. 83% of Republicans have said that. The country is very united on wanting to keep Iran from getting nuclear weapons. They had uranium that was 60% enriched, and you only need a fraction of that enrichment to be able to have a nuclear power plant. You don't need 60% enrichment for a nuclear power plant. You only need that kind of enrichment and greater enrichment for nuclear weapons. And they were keeping this all 300 feet under the ground. Who does that? When you piece everything together, it's pretty clear that something needed to happen with Iran. Lots of presidents have done this in the past, and now Trump again is acting decisively. And this is all part of the plan involving the trade wars and the proxy wars. But the trade wars are where things all start. So let's get a little bit into the trade wars. Trump is looking to rewrite everything and reset the stage with regard to global trade. And we're sitting at a table with lots of different players at the table. And Trump feels like he's got the best cards. And of course, we've got the most chips here in the U.S. We've got certain players at the table. We've got the U.S. with 30 trillion in chips. We've got China with about 20 trillion in chips. We've got the EU with about 28 trillion in chips. And then we've got other players. These other players include the UK, India, Canada, Mexico, Japan, and none of those other players have many chips, so they can't really play that effectively. It's mainly just the U.S. and China and the EU. And of course, Trump wants to play hardball with China, but the EU is hard to tell. The EU looks like they want to negotiate, but they might be playing something a little bit different. Looks like they have some ideas as to what they want to do, which includes possible tariffs on some of our services like technology services and things of that nature. But when we're talking about playing the game of cards, Trump likes to talk about how he has all the cards and how when he works with other countries, he helps them have all the cards. So when he's negotiating, he's going to be talking with everybody who joins us is going to have all the cards against like maybe China. But when we're looking at the cards right now, let's say I'm Trump in the U.S. and I'm holding 2 kings in my hand. We got a king on the board, which means we got 3 kings, and that's a great hand so far. But China may be holding something else. If China has a pair of aces and a flush draw, China also has a really good hand, and China's hand has the possibility of beating our 3 kings. But if we play our cards right, we can get China out of the game and we can collect the pot and we can rewrite the rules. So Trump is looking to play his hand the right way and play it very aggressively. He's not starting out that aggressively, but he promises that he'll be very, very much more aggressive if someone's playing back at him. And it looks like most of these other countries have already folded their hand. So it looks like India's already folded their hand, Ireland's already folded their hand, Vietnam's already folded their hand. A lot of these other countries have already folded their hand, and a lot of these other countries are getting in line with the U.S. and letting them have better cards because Trump says if he has good cards, they have good cards. Let's say that we've got two gas stations. Let's say we've got a Save-A-Ton gas station on one corner and the Fuel City on the other corner, and they're making a killing. It's a great intersection for them. They're making this killing on all the gas that they're selling. But Fuel City wants to win at Save-A-Ton's expense. So Fuel City drops the price of gas by quite a bit, and suddenly Fuel City is making 30% more profits. Now, Save-A-Ton doesn't like that. Save-A-Ton's like, well, Fuel City, you kind of messed us up. We were making a ton here, and now you're making all the money. We're not making anything. So one thing that can happen is Save-A-Ton can say, well, we're going to lower our prices too, so we both lose, or can talk to Fuel City about raising their prices back so they both win. If Fuel City continues to keep their prices low and take all the customers, that's no good, and that's unfair in the eyes of Fuel City, but that may be what they want to do. And so if they do, Fuel City also lowers their prices and they both lose. But hopefully we can come to the point where they both raise their prices back, they both have better profits together, and they both win. So that's what we want to be looking to. We're going to be playing out our cards. Right now we got the best hand. We're going to bet aggressively so that we can rewrite things and move forward, or we may enter a situation where everybody loses, and that's no good for anybody. Free trade is so full of people play by the rules, and some of these countries haven't really wanted to play by the rules, and now they're getting forced to play by the rules to some degree, and China's been one of the worst offenders as far as obeying the rules. They're cheating here and there and everywhere. They're stealing all kinds of intellectual property, and they're doing things that a lot of the countries don't really like, but they become so big that it's hard to put them in their place. And so most recently, what we've seen is China's been, since we've imposed these tariffs upon China, China's been dumping a lot of products in Europe. And the Europeans don't like that very much because it's hurt the production of automobiles, it's hurt the production of steel. And so Europe has decided to hit back. And so they say the enemy of your enemy is your friend. And we've had some issues with the Europeans in recent days. They haven't been wanting to come to the table quite as easily as far as working out the tariffs and whatnot. But since the Europeans are more angry at the Chinese than they are at the U.S., we see Europe as being a good ally for us. And we still got to work things out with Europe. We've worked things out with a lot of other countries, but not Europe yet, because the EU wants to play a little bit of hardball. But it's like sitting at a poker table where you've got someone that you're still playing against at the poker table, but you've realized that you don't like how aggressive this other player is getting and how nasty they're getting, and so you decide to play back at them and kind of work together to play back at this one opponent. Sitting at this poker table is kind of like playing poker when people all have guns. And so we're all sitting at this poker table and we want to play aggressively and play in a way where we can win the pot, but we also don't want to get shot. And we've got to not let China push the rest of the table around, because if they do, everybody's going to lose to China, and it's not going to end up very well for anybody but China. Going into 2025, it looked like this was going to be a really good year to be invested in China. The dollar was getting weaker, and China was really, really cheap. There were a lot of money managers that were loading up the bus on China. But in the first quarter, it seemed like just about everybody was unloading on China because they saw the writing on the wall and how China was becoming so much more adversarial with the U.S., and Trump was initiating these tariffs. And so it no longer looks like China is going to be quite as good a place to be invested, especially if you're invested directly in China. Maybe you can invest in some of the companies that are listed on the Hong Kong exchange. Maybe you can invest in some of the companies that have moved outside of China, because there's a lot of companies that are moving outside of China. There's a lot of people that are trying to get out of China because it's more totalitarian. And so investing in China may not be quite as easy in the future as it has been. It's still really cheap, and if things change, then we can jump in and buy really cheap. Hopefully we'll come to the point where we all renegotiate and everybody can win. We want to all win together. We all want to work together and collaborate. Everybody's good. We all love that. And so if you like these videos, or since you like these videos, please put your thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out a lot, and you'll be able to be notified when other videos come out. As always, stay thirsty for knowledge. We'll catch up with you next time.
We are at war with China, and it is it hasn't turned to a military war, but it's actually turned to very much a subversive war in which each would overthrow the government and do all sorts of stuff. And it's not going to go back. It's going to be that way. The two countries fight wars differently. The Chinese way of fighting war and the Western way, which he calls the Mediterranean way of fighting war. The Mediterranean way is that you go in and you fight to win, and you kill each other, and you do that. The Chinese way of fighting is so that your opponent doesn't even know they're fighting. You win if you're not smart enough to win the war without actually fighting. You must not be very smart.
The art of war.